Welcome back to MMA Oddsbreaker, ladies and gentlemen. I am Frank Trigg, your weekly host. Well, in this case, it's your daily host because I've been doing so many of these interviews this week because there's so many fights. We've got Invicta fighting on Thursday night. We've got Bellator, on Thursday night. We have Invicta on Friday night, and we have the UFC on Saturday night. And then the following week, we have Legacy Fighting Championships, which is where Georgi's fighting. It's going to be an interesting matchup with all these events coming up very quick and very hard. Georgi Karakhanyan, he's getting ready to fight Dean Thomas, who's an old school guy. So those of you that have been following the fights for a long time know all about Dean Thomas. Georgi, this fight was supposed to happen a while back. Is that correct? Oh, no. Dean fought one of your teammates a while back. So you guys in Millennium have been preparing for Dean for a long time.
Yeah, he fought one of my teammates, Cody Bollinger.
That's right.
So, it was Cody ended up losing that fight, but yeah, it was a pretty good win for Dean because Cody was an upcoming fighter too.
So, did you learn anything from Cody's fight that you're going to take into your fight next week or the week after next?
Well, Dean Thomas, like you said, he's a veteran, and you can't underestimate someone like him. His ground game is really good. He's overall really well-rounded, and his arm bars, his submissions are pretty slick. So, I always got to watch out for his submissions. I don't underestimate him. I'm going to this fight with a lot of confidence, but not underestimate him. He's a tough opponent.
You're training out of Millennium Jiu-Jitsu or Millennium Training Camp down there in California. Did you bring anybody in specifically to mimic Dean's style to help you get ready for this fight?
I just, we have a lot of good guys out of our camp, but we have a lot of good jiu-jitsu guys too. Marcelo Mafra is a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner, so I roll with him, and overall with all the guys, all the guys helped me out. Just past week, Cup Swanson came and helped me out, so just good group of guys.
Now, how many times a year do you like to fight? It seems like to me you try to be as active as possible. But in 2012 you fought 3 times. 2011 I think you fought 4 times. You're pretty active compared to most of the other fighters. Is that a schedule you want to keep up? 3 to 4 fights per year?
Yeah, I wish I could fight 6 to 7 times a year. As long as I'm healthy and I don't get injured. But I just like to stay busy. I like to fight a lot. I enjoy fighting, and if I can stay busy every month, that'll be perfect. I'll be happy with that.
Now, your manager Mike Hogan and I were talking about you a little bit, and Mike was saying that you're one of those guys that you have an Armenian last name, but you don't fight like the typical Armenians. And whenever someone thinks of Armenian, of course, they first think of Kara Parisian as the first guy that he wasn't the first fighter, but the first guy to kind of put the name on the map. Your style is completely different. We have so many new fans now that follow MMA. Can you explain to the fans at home how you perceive your style to be?
My style is, I started with jiu-jitsu, but, I like to keep the fight standing. And whatever the fight goes, I like to finish, I'm not your typical boring wrestler where he takes you down and lays on top of you. But, I like to finish fights, and, whatever the fight takes it, I always look for a finish, and I like to be a little flashy. I'll throw some flying knees here and there. But, like I said, I'm a finisher. I like to finish fights.
Now, do you think that finishing fights is going to help you make that jump to go from like Legacy up to the UFC or Legacy up to Bellator?
Yeah, of course. I think in any organization you fight, even the fans, they look for finishes. My few opponents, past 2 opponents, they're really tough. I couldn't finish him. I would look to finish him, but I always look to finish. I'm going to look to finish Dean Thomas. I'm pretty sure he's going to look to do the same thing to me. But after the fight, I just want to go somewhere where they could pay me the money or what I'm worth, and give me the opponents, give me the high quality opponents. Dean has a good name. That'll be good win on my record. So, someone like him or any upcoming that has a good name,
You had 2 fights ago, you fought Micah Miller, unanimous decision win. And that was a 5-rounder. And then Hiroki Takada, you fought in Dream 18 Special New Year's Eve event, and you won a split decision after 3 rounds. What happened in Takaya fight that made a decision? Because I thought that you would on New Year's Eve. I thought you would have finished him. I just thought that stylistically it would have been an easy fight, but you would have found that space where it would have been easy for you to finish him once you got into that space to make it to make the fight finish off. But it didn't. It went to a split decision. What happened in that fight that caused it to go all the way to the distance as opposed to you catching him sometime?
I think because first time fighting in Japan, and
Okay.
then fighting in a Saitama arena, it was a little
Yep.
little crazy. Especially walking out, it was crazy, man. Those people, 37,000 people, and it was because back when I got into MMA, I was watching a lot of Pride, and actually I watched some of your fights,
Thank you.
and you know, I think it was a little shocking. And then as soon as the fight started, I did try to finish him. It just like I said, he's a veteran, and he hang in there. I clipped him with a couple of good shots. I thought he got this, but he's still he's a tough opponent, and like I said, this sport is evolving. Even if you're veteran, I mean, all those veterans, they still evolve too with the sport. So, my hands off to Takaya.
Yeah, Takaya's a real salty opponent. He's very, very good. He's very smart. I like how he fights. But like I said, stylistically, I thought it wouldn't be easy to get to the finish. But once you got into when it started cycling into that finish area, you'd be able to catch him very quickly and get the fight over with. But
Yeah.
Dean Thomas, he's just as salty, but he's a little bit more of a wily veteran. But Dean is also one of those guys where he's like, I win, I lose, I train. I'm in it not anymore for the glory. I'm not in it to get moved back up to the UFC. I was already in the UFC. I'm just here fighting because I love to fight, and I'm 36 years old. And he's kind of got that old man wild about him, like old man strength, old man smarts. Do you think your young vigor and the fact that you are so hungry gonna be able to overtake Dean with that kind of technique and that style?
I'm just really hungry to fight anyone. To me, I don't. I'm very humble. I just I watched Dean Thomas fight too, and he's a great fighter. But I'm going in there, a hungry fighter. I'm looking to finish the fight. I honestly don't care what he says. How he's not fighting, doesn't want to go into UFC and this, that. I don't look at that. I'm not even going to look at what he's going to try to do to me. I'm just worried about myself and me only. I'm just going to go there and try to finish him.
Now you're wearing a shirt that says "vegetarian fighter." Are you a vegetarian?
Yeah, I am vegetarian.
So no meat, no eggs, no cheese, or are you a vegan, or are you a vegetarian where you still eat cheese and eggs?
No, I'm not. I'm not a vegan. Yeah, I'll eat cheese. Of course, I gotta have that cheese pizza after a fight or vegetarian pizza. But I'm not a vegan. I try to be vegan, and it's really hard, man. But I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah, I was a vegetarian for 2 years in college. I was having stomach issues, and I thought that was the problem. Was the meat that I was ingesting wasn't helping out. College you're eating like McDonald's and Wendy's, so they wanted me to back off it, and it worked for me for a while. But then I realized I was just so small. And my buddy Aaron Simpson's a vegan during training camp. He's a vegetarian but he's a vegan during. Mac Danzig, my other buddy. Shields, Diaz brothers, like they're all great competitors, but they all are vegans or vegetarians of some sort or another. I don't understand how you guys can do it without getting, and I don't eat red meat. All I eat is chicken, fish, turkey. That's it. Like I don't get into red meat. I have a very little pork. I will eat some lamb when I can get it. Buffalo meat's about as red as I get. How are you able to heal and maintain being a vegetarian like that? How do you get all your protein source in?
Well, if I take protein, I'll take hemp protein and stuff like that. I'll take the Vega protein. It's a good product, Vega. But I think most of the fighters are worried about the protein. I'm not really hardcore on protein. I get my protein, from brown rice and black beans and lentils and all this stuff like that. But I'm not really hardcore on protein like that. Just.
Well, you're not a 250-pound heavyweight. You're a 145-pound fighter. You're smaller, so you only need about like 100 grams a day of protein anyway. Where a lot of these guys are like my size at 190. They're trying to ingest 300 and 400 grams a day of protein, which is far too much. So we don't really need that much protein, even when we're working out hard. I mean, so you don't need that much, but it still interests me in how you guys can get enough from black beans and lentils, and to me, I don't think I get enough in. I think I'd fall apart. Well, George, I appreciate you coming on here. It's I know it's late. I know it's Sunday. It's Easter for you. I appreciate you coming on here. Coming on here a week before your fight. Good luck against Dean Thomas. I'm watching this fight because I do think there are UFC or Bellator implications. I do think that if you beat Dean and beat him significantly, that the UFC is going to take a hard look at you to move you up to the 145-pound division. But so are Bellator. I believe that both organizations will look at you. And of course, with the ass that Mike Kogan is, it's the perfect mix of storm you're about to be in, if it happens your way out there in Legacy. Last question before I let you go. How has Mick Maynard and Andrea Maynard been towards you, the promoters of Legacy Fighting Championships? Has it been a good organization to work for so far?
Yeah, they've been really cool. They've been nice to us. Everything that I go through Mike Hogan, my manager. But they've been treating us really nice, and I'm looking forward for that day, and hopefully people could watch me fight live on Access TV on April 12th. And I just want to thank you for having me, for interviewing me.
It's my pleasure, man. I tell Mike that anytime he's got any good kids that I can talk to, definitely send them my way. And as soon as I said that to him, he's the first name you gave me. We're just waiting for you to have a fight. That's all we're waiting on. So I'm glad we finally got to have an interview, and good luck in a couple weeks here in Legacy.
Thank you, Fred.
All right, Joe. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you, bro.